How's it going, everybody? Hope everybody is having a great weekend. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Just want to remind everybody to please hit like. It really helps me with the algorithm. Really appreciate it. Everybody who hits like. How's it going, everyone? Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. What I want to actually start with tonight is I'd like to start with saying we cannot let the memory hole. This direct quote from Mark Carney, 12 days after an attack on a Canadian military base. I'm not the only spokesperson for this government. Sequence of events: March 1st, Iran hits a military base in Kuwait with Canadian soldiers. Oh, I haven't. No, I have not heard that rumor that armed Chinese guards are in the Alberta oil patch. Very interesting. I'll look into that. No, I have not heard about that. That's very interesting. How's it going, everybody? Just a reminder, please hit like. That helps with the algorithm. Really appreciate it. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. Great to see everybody. Great to see everybody. Exactly. LA, California. How's it going, everybody? Free Canada is absolutely right. Hope that everybody's having a great weekend. It's been a really nice weekend here in Montreal. It's been beautiful. Finally, hey, Saskatchewan's beautiful. Finally, we're getting some nice weather. Oh my God, it's so nice. Finally, we're having a couple nice days. This week is going to be nicer. Hope everybody's had a great weekend, and thanks so much for being here on a Sunday night. Really appreciate it. Great to see everybody. The large topic that I want to hit on tonight is it's looking increasingly likely. How's it going, Terrence? It's looking increasingly likely that Bill C-9 is Islan. How's it going? Great to see everybody. Good evening. How's it going, everybody? How's it going, everybody? Yeah, a new federal party may very well be what we need. A new federal party may well be what we need, but it's going to be incredibly difficult with the way the system is set up. How's it? Yeah, I heard that story in Alaska about the bad gear and the frostbite. That was a crazy story. 60 to 70 Canadian soldiers apparently were injured up in training up in Alaska because the government of Canada had not provided our troops with what they needed. It's unbelievable. How's it going, everybody? Great to see everybody. I know it's crazy. What the main topic that I want to hit on tonight is it's looking increasingly likely that Bill C-9 is going to pass this week. Bill C-9 is going to pass this week. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. I'll look into that armored guards. I have not heard about that yet. The 84K jobs is insane. Thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate the kind words. It means so much. I absolutely will not stop. We'll keep fighting. Thank you very much. Just a reminder to everybody, please hit like. It really helps me with the algorithm. Really appreciate it. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Carney is job repelling. It's truly incredible to have elected a man whose resume, main qualification was the fact that he'd been the governor of the Bank of Canada. And the fact is that our economy is in absolute tatters so far. But what the main topic that I want to hit on is that Bill C-9, it's increasingly likely that Bill C-9 is going to pass this week, is going to pass this week, which is absolutely disastrous. And what I would like to do, because I know that all of us here are so frustrated with what's going on. Greetings from New York. Yeah, New York is a total shit show with Mom Donnie. Oh my God, it's crazy down there. I've actually seen videos in New York of the call to prayer, the Muslim call to prayer blasting through the streets. You're seeing similar things there to what's happening in Canada. Correct. Bill C-9 at this point has passed the House. It has not passed the Senate. Ironically, that's exactly what I do, a class action lawsuit. Ironically, however, the Liberal government of Canada, the absolute minimum number of days that Bill C-9 can be debated in the Senate is 2 days. And of course, they are going to go ahead with the minimum. Hey, from Georgia. Awesome. From Georgia. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. They are attempting to pass the anti-free speech bill. They are attempting to pass the anti-free speech bill without debating it, with the absolute minimum number of days for debate that they can possibly have. So it's looking increasingly likely like Bill C-9 is going to pass this week. We are going to see similar to what's going on in the UK. In the UK right now, they are arresting approximately. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we need Rupert Lowe. We need Rupert Lowe 100%. We are going to see right now in the UK with the so-called online harms bill, they are arresting approximately 33 people a day in the UK. It's approximately 33 people a day that are being arrested in the UK for a total of 12,000 a year. We are now going to have a similar bill that passes in Canada, Bill C-9. And thanks so much for the super chat, J Mac. Thanks so much, bro. I so appreciate it. I will. And that's what I'm going to get into today. Talk about the lawsuit. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. And that's exactly what I want to talk about, because I've been trying to work through. I know a lot of us are feeling incredibly hopeless about what's going on in Canada right now. And I think we need to start more. We all know how serious the issues are in this country. Now it's about working through what steps can we actually take to remedy what's going on, because we all know how nefarious the Liberal Party of Canada is, how detrimental the policies they're passing are for our economy, for our country. But now we need to start thinking through, okay, what is our plan of attack? How do we actually go after these communists? So you're exactly correct that my plan is that once Bill C-9 is passed, we need to I want to file a lawsuit against Bill C-9, because in my reading of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it's glaringly obvious that Bill C-9 is in violation of Section 2B of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which guarantees Canadians' right to free expression. So I want to file a lawsuit. The smartest way that you can do it, but thank you so much for the support, guys. I so appreciate the kind words. The smartest way that we can attack this lawsuit is by going through the Superior Court of Canada. You're exactly right. The charter was treated as toilet paper during COVID. The only good thing about what happened during COVID is that two federal courts did rule that the Emergencies Act was a violation of the Charter and Rights and Freedoms. Now, unfortunately, the issue is two federal courts said that, but nobody paid any cost. They essentially said you treated it like toilet paper. It was illegal, but nobody paid any cost. Who got in trouble for violating our Charter of Rights and Freedoms with the Emergencies Act? Nobody did. Chrystia Freeland was up there laughing about it. Justin Trudeau is now on a yacht with Katy Perry. Chrystia Freeland is in the Ukraine counting our billions of dollars. So you're absolutely right. But at least federal courts did deem it to be illegal. So what I would like to do once Bill C-9 passes is go to the Superior Court of Canada and argue that certain wording, certain criminal cases in Bill C-9 are illegal. There are certain sections regarding hate speech, use of symbols that it is my belief. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but it's my belief that they are blatantly contradictory to Section 2B in particular of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which guarantees freedom of expression. And the most efficient way to attack it, it's my belief, it's called going for a post injunction in the Superior Court. It's Section 52(1). I won't get too into the boring details, but Section 52(1) of the Constitution Act in Canada, the Constitution Act of 1982. Thank you so much, Terrence. Thank you so much for the super chat. God bless. Thank you so much. And all donations are, thank you so much, Terrence. I so appreciate it. And all donations will be going towards the lawsuit that I will be filing against Bill C-9, because we need to do something. Thank you so much, Terrence. We need to do something because it is my belief that Bill C-9 is actually a more extreme, a rock girl days, how's it going? Is more extreme than the law that has been passed in the UK. Thank you so much for the kind words. God bless. Thank you so much. Thanks, Terrence. Thank you so much for the kind words. I so appreciate it. Thank you. Because I've seen some horrific video coming out of the UK over this past weekend of people at the airport being arrested for Facebook posts, and it's always the same thing they're being arrested for criticizing. It's always immigration. It's always immigration that they're going after people for. And the whole reason that we have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms is not to protect people who are voicing opinions in line with the government. I mean, this is common sense. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Section 2B, protections for free expression, are not meant to protect the opinions of the majority, the opinions of the woke DEI. No, it's meant to protect the opinions of the minority. It's meant to protect freedom of speech is the freedom for people who are saying things that the majority of people do not like. That's what freedom of expression exists for. And now in the UK, we are seeing on a very regular basis people being arrested for, in particular, the most frequent reason for arrest is posting about so-called, they always call it anti-immigration hate. It's so incredible to be able to implement immigration policies that are wildly unpopular. By the most recent polling I have seen says that over 3/4 of Canadians think that we're allowing too many people into the country on an annual basis. Over 3/4 of Canadians. That's wildly unpopular. That's exactly correct. The UK is now arresting over 12,000 people a year under their so-called Online Harms Act. It is my belief. I have compared Bill C-9 to that online act in the UK, and it is my belief. We of course we will not know this definitively. I'm with you. It's not a theory. It's absolutely not a theory. We are being replaced. I totally agree with that. But I believe that once Bill C-9 has passed, it's incredibly likely that we will be seeing more people arrested in Canada than in the UK. Oh yeah, read that's a fantastic book. Alexander Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago is a fantastic book. I highly suggest that you read it. One of the quotes that really stuck with me from that book was when he talks about if you were caught with a knife, you would be treated very differently than if the thief was caught with a knife. For the thief, it would be due to their upbringing, due to their past. For you, it would be a serious crime. And we are getting there. We are absolutely getting there. And it's my opinion that Bill C-9 is the most extreme step that our government has taken thus far. Therefore, it's most important that we challenge it in court. So my hope, as I said, I've been doing some digging. My belief is the most efficient way to attack Bill C-9 is to go to the Superior Court, file an injunction, and as I stated in the Constitution Act, argue that it is in violation of Section 52(1). That's my argument because I fully expect, I would not be surprised whatsoever once this bill passes if people who are speaking out against the government begin to get knocks on their door. And it's the absolute definition of communism. This is how communist regimes always work. They don't go after actual criminals. They don't care that crime rates in Canada are skyrocketing. But the vast majority of major crime rates across this country are up over 100% in the past decade alone. And anybody with eyes and ears who walks around our streets knows it's gotten much more dangerous. I personally, I mean, who cares about me personally, but I personally get threats nonstop, people saying that they know where I am. But the actual criminals, they are absolutely not going to go after. It is going to be their political opponents. They're going to go after their political opponents. There's no doubt about it. That's what Bill C-9 is going to be used for. It is going to, in my opinion, the most frequent reason they are going to go after people for. Thank you so much for the kind words. So appreciate it. God bless. Thank you so much. the people that they are going to be going after, I believe in particular, the number one reason for implementing this so-called hate speech law is to go after people who criticize their immigration policy. They are going to deem that anybody who criticizes Canada's immigration policy is engaging in hate speech. In all likelihood, attempt to make several high-profile arrests. So they'll shut down a few notorious people, make a big show of it, notorious skeptics of immigration. And one of the most nefarious things about it is that the plan, as it always is with these communists, is they'll make a few high profile arrests. They'll say, oh, these 5 people have been arrested for hate speech, have been criticizing the government's immigration policy. They'll make a few high profile arrests, and then it will have a chilling effect. And you read this across the world. In the communist, not free world, you read about China, you read about Russia. One of the most dangerous things you see is the fact that people self-censor in Russia, in China, in these communist countries. People self-censor because they're worried that they're going to get imprisoned. So the Liberal Party of Canada will make a big show. Yeah, I just got rid of them. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Every once in a while we get a bot in here who's not very happy. But they'll once Bill C-9 passes, they'll make a big show of arresting a couple of Canadians. They'll make a big show of arresting them. They'll plaster it all over the news. They'll take a few quotes perhaps out of context on immigration that they've made, and then Canadians will be self-censorious. And when you read history books, Gulag Archipelago is a perfect example of it. But time after time after time, what these communist regimes do is they enforce people to self-censor. Thanks so much for the kind words, Deb. So appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thank you so much. Sorry guys. We have one bot. You know what I actually have to do at some point is get something to get somebody to moderate this type of thing, because I've noticed online. I don't know how many of you have noticed this, but there's more people who are acting unhinged. I'll get more threats on a regular basis, people saying that they know where I am. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, yeah, do you really have enough time to follow somebody around? But this is the point that I'm making. In the vast majority of cases, it's my belief that a lot of these wokies, a lot of these far left are quite mentally ill people. In my experience, I'm starting to realize that a lot of these people, thanks so much, Silvio. Really appreciate it, Silvio. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And guys, the words of support and everybody who's willing to support me, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And absolutely, yeah, that's fantastic. We have to start meeting up in person. That's a huge piece of what we need to start doing to fight against this. But I so appreciate the kind words. God bless. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's becoming more and more apparent, particularly as I continue to speak out every day. I already had a fairly strong inkling that this was the case, but it's my belief that these people on the left wing are quite mentally ill and mentally unstable. Thank you so much for the kind words, guys. I so appreciate it. They're frequently mentally ill, mentally unstable, just based on the comments that I see from them. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that they are so used to living in a bubble where no, yeah, I'm going to get some mods. Absolutely. I need to get some mods. Guys, if you're interested in modding, shoot me an email. That'd be fantastic, because actually it can be a little tough. I know we sometimes get some trolls in the comment. Getting a mod would be fantastic. Shoot me an email, because yeah, I don't want people ruining the comments, because that's one of the great things about doing this is people can have discussions, and it's a great place for like-minded people to realize, yeah, I have a Discord app. Reach out to me on Discord. It's a great place for like-minded people to talk in the comments. So yeah, if you're interested in becoming a mod, that'd be fantastic. Shoot me an email. I do need a mod for this. A reminder: if you guys just arrived, please like, share. Fantastic. Really helps me with the algorithm. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and if you're interested in modding, send me an email. Yeah, of course, I just have to be careful because it's the type of thing. I'm getting more of a feeling that as we get bigger, as Fight for Canada becomes more and more on the radar, I've particularly noticed I've started posting on Twitter, and there's some leftists that are very unhinged. Yeah, I will send the Discord link. Actually, if you go to youtube.com/at Fight for Canada 2026, the Discord link is right there. The Discord link is right there. But I'm realizing I think that part of the issue is that there are so many of these wokies in Canada. I don't know about you guys, but I feel as though when I'm in coffee shops, do you guys feel as though you're kind of the only one there that's kind of sane and sees what's going on in this country? Because I think that a lot of liberals never have their views challenged, and they get extremely offended. Thank you so much for joining as a member, Debbie. God bless. Thank you so much, Debbie. I so appreciate it. I so appreciate it. Yeah, I think that a lot of these left wingers. Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much for the super chat. God bless. Hope you're having a great night. Thank you so much. So appreciate the support. Hey Zita, how's it going? And every dollar will go towards. I am going to file a lawsuit. Oh, thanks. Same to you, Zita. Hope you're having a great night. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a great night. Every dollar will go towards funding. I am going to file a lawsuit once Bill C-9 has passed in the Superior Court, arguing that it is a violation of Section 52(1) of the Constitution Act, stomps all over Section 2B of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But I'm realizing the scary thing, yeah, a class action may be a smart way to go about it, or we'll go with somebody who's already being charged, but figuring out the most efficient way to go about it is a smart thing, because this bill needs to be challenged, because this is the most extreme bill, in my opinion, that the Liberal Party has passed thus far, and is the most egregious attack on our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So it needs to be challenged immediately. And you're exactly right. I think that another reason that these leftists are so unhinged, first of all, I've seen studies that leftists are by a wide margin more of them on SSRIs. I think that many of these people are heavily medicated on a lot of drugs. And at this point, there's many of them who are becoming extremely unhinged. As I stated, as my visibility has gone up somewhat, I have noticed that in the comment sections, the threats, the talks, people mentioning explicitly where I am, location. I think one of the major issues is SSRIs. I think a lot of them are on chemically induced issues. I also think that a large part of it is, you're exactly right, this trans craze, where a lot of people, I think, have been on hormones since a very young age. They've never been. That's a very good way to put it. You can feel it. Like, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I feel as though when I'm surrounded by leftists, it's almost a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing, and you can feel that something is off with them. It's an eerie feeling. It's a feeling that you do. Thanks so much for the super chat, George. So appreciate it. God bless. Thank you so much. But when you're around them, you can feel that something is off with them. It's hard to put your finger on exactly what it is, but the more frequently I experience it, the more frequently I do think to myself, this is a spiritual war. Yeah, Yuri Bezmenov was absolutely right. He had a lot of quotes about how the left were useful idiots. Very, very good, very good. But I'm getting major spiritual vibes. You're exactly right. I totally buy into the eyes are a window into the soul, and they are just. I think that a lot of. Thanks very much for the super chat. Bother me none. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. You're absolutely right. there's a spiritual war going on in this country. And even at the very top with Mark Carney, I feel as though there's something off with him. It's no wonder that Carney is the spiritual leader of the modern day Liberal Party of Canada, because Carney, with his he speaks with absolutely no soul whatsoever. And in my estimation, there's something off with him. I mean, look, he sent one of his children to Tavistock. You just look into Tavistock, it's now defunded. Yeah, the idea of a global banker for the people. He's flat as a record, and every third word. I don't know. I really don't understand how people listen to this guy. Thanks so much for the super chat, Teresa. Oh, that's extremely well put. Thanks so much for the super chat. We are the light. Yeah, I totally agree with you. When I'm in Montreal, because Montreal is an extremely liberal city, and my God, when I'm in coffee shops, when I'm looking around, I just think to myself, there's a spiritual battle going on here. I've even received threats explicitly naming the coffee shop that I'm in, and I think to myself, how deranged are these people? How is it possible? I would never imagine, if I disagreed with somebody politically, I could never imagine stalking them in real life and telling them where they are. Like that goes beyond politics. That goes to a serious mental illness. And it's my honest belief that a larger and larger majority of these left wingers have something spiritually wrong with them, spiritually bankrupt with them. And a large part of it is SSRIs. I was actually watching a documentary on many of these mass shootings that have occurred in the United States. And a very frequent thing that they're seeing time and time again is these people are on SSRIs. These people are on Zoloft. These people are on antidepressants. I think there's definitely a connection there. I also think that these gender hormones that we push in Canada from a very young age, I think that this is going to age so incredibly poorly. This trans craze in Canada. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. The genital mutilation of very young people, this is not going to result in mentally stable people. I don't think that any of us can debate that. I don't think that anybody would argue against it. When we look back on what, in my opinion, is a craze right now, Jordan Peterson has spoken very well on it. I think that this has created a large group of people, the woke left, that are increasingly mentally unstable. And it's also, you see it in our streets. I started to really notice it during these so-called pro-Palestine rallies that were happening on our streets for the past 3 years. And I noticed in those crowds, it almost felt as though there was a demonic force with them. First of all, the voice of their speakers was such a chilling scream, in my opinion. And I thought to myself, this is a spiritual battle that's going on right now. This is deeper than politics right now. There is something going on in our society where a lot of people are being pulled towards the dark side. And I also feel as though I don't have a Patreon, bro, but the Borneologist, but I do have a Stripe account if you're interested in supporting the lawsuit that I'm going to be enacting. Under any of my YouTubes, it's listed there, as well as on YouTube, just youtube.com/Fight for Canada. And I so appreciate everybody who supports. Thank you so much. Every dollar will go towards my next step is to file a challenge with the Superior Court once Bill C-9 passes, arguing that it's in violation of Section 2B of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Section 52(1) in the Constitution Act. And I will be challenging, and of course, I will be keeping you guys. I will be keeping you guys updated every day. But it is increasingly, in my opinion, a spiritual battle going on. And these people, these left wingers, I get more and more of an ominous feeling that there's something bad going on. And it's you literally think back to the supporters of the regimes, like in the Gulag Archipelago, the supporters of Lenin and Stalin, the people who were so excited to arrest their neighbors for so-called, I mean, 1984 is another fantastic example by Orwell. The almost bugmen, the bugmen who were so enthusiastic about locking people up who so-called wrong thought. It's it's a spiritual battle going on. The idea that somebody would be so enthusiastic to take another person's liberty away, it's almost as though they become inhuman. They become inhuman, and you started to really see it during COVID with the people saying that people who didn't want to take the shot should not be allowed to participate in society. I think that opened a lot of people's eyes to how extreme people are and how enthusiastic they are to go after people who don't agree with them politically. I'd never seen enthusiasm like that to lock people to want to lock people up to say you're not allowed to participate in society if you don't want to take an experimental vaccine. And it's my opinion that it's just gotten worse and worse. How many of you guys agree with this? I actually think that in a way, COVID was almost a turning point. I feel that things have gotten a heck of a lot darker since COVID. And there are more. I think that's a very good way to put it. If you're ever wondering what you were doing in 1939, this is it. I totally agree with this. I think that we are on the precipice of something extremely ugly. We are on the precipice of something extremely ugly. And that's why it's so important that we actually get out and fight things like Bill C-9, because Bill C-9 is, in my opinion, the first extreme step in a descent into an authoritarian state where they're going to begin essentially monitoring the internet and all online spaces, which is all that we have. All that we have is our online spaces to connect. It's so important that we have spaces like this to connect, because obviously all your mainstream broadcasters, CBC, CTV, receive $1.5 billion a year. They steal $1.5 billion a year. They're such Goliaths. Spaces like these are the only spaces that we have to organize, to fight back against the evil that's being done. And Bill C-9, in my opinion, is an attempt to stop these spaces, stop the one free area that we have to actually speak, coordinate, and fight back against the evil. So they are going to use Bill C-9 to go after their political opponents. Do not fall for the double speak of them saying it's about hate speech. It's about speech that they hate. It's about speech that they hate. It's about going after people who don't fall in line with their worldview, which is so ironic because such a subversion. It's such a subversion of what free speech is all about. Free speech is not about protecting people who toe the company line. Throughout all of human history, those who criticize the government, criticize the leaders, have not been allowed to do so. That's what's so incredible about Western civilization, is we're one of the few civilizations ever. Of course, you could do so in Greece. There have been a few other cases throughout human history, but the vast majority of the time, the populace, the peasants, which is exactly what they look at us as, the peasants have not been allowed to voice your opinion. This is a unique, thank you very much, Wally. This is a unique period in time that we're living in where you're allowed to criticize power. And they know how dangerous that is, because even if it's the minority opinion, fundamentally, the truth has a lot of power. The truth has a lot of power. You can try to, it just has a different feeling to it. You know what I mean? You can feel when somebody's being honest. You can feel when somebody's being truthful. Thank you so much, Jilly Bean. Will do. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Yeah, and guys, everybody who's helping me blow up, I just started posting more frequently on Twitter. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. But you can feel when somebody is telling you the truth. You know what I mean? There's a different feel to it, which is why I say we're in a spiritual battle, and that's why they need to shut us down, because on all of these issues, we are in the right. And there's more power inherently in what you say when you're correct versus when you're incorrect. Like, for example, just making the most basic statements that importing all of these different sects from India, these thank you so much, guys. These different sects from India, these different sects from the Middle East, we yeah, that's very well put. The truth has such a greater vibration than fear. That's absolutely true. But even simple statements like the fact that importing hundreds of thousands of people from the Middle East, from India, makes Canada a less safe place because of the fact we now see on a nearly daily basis people being killed because they're talking about the Iranian regime, people being killed because they're talking about the Khalistani regime, criminals being imported into this country. There's no doubt about it. This wave of immigration over the past decade has made Canada a less safe place. And even when I say that, I feel as though there's a ring of truth to it because simply it is the truth. You know what I mean? They can label it racist, sexist, xenophobic, hate speech, whatever they want to do. They can call it whatever they want, but we simply know it's true. It's true. And we don't even need to talk about the statistics, though the statistics 100% bear it out. But you, it's true. It's a simple statement of truth to state that mass immigration over the past decade has made Canada a less cohesive, less safe country. It's simply a true thing to say. And I do feel as though the truth is always more powerful than lies. The truth is always more powerful than lies, which is why they try to blaspheme. They try to call you as many names in the book as there are. They call you a racist. They call you xenophobe. They call you everything. But Canadians who walk around, it's not a hateful thing to state the fact that immigration has been damaging to the cohesiveness of Canada. And in the long run, we have seen in history time and time and time again that mass immigration movements from all over the world lead to a lack of cohesion in your country and in the long run major issues. This multiculturalism that the liberals talk about is a psyop. It's a total psyop. You either have a culture as a country or you don't. And it is simply stating the facts, stating truth that the Anglophones and Francophones that arrived, it was mainly people from France, England, Scotland, and Ireland, essentially all of them who arrived here in the late 17th century and settled and built this civilization. The values that were built on were Christian values, the British parliamentary system, and common law. And that's just true. It's simply true to state that. And that's why they hate it so much. That's why they hate it so much because there is a ring of truth to it. There's an absolute ring of truth to it. And we see it in our streets every day. Why in Canada do we have to have these hate rallies on our streets on a nearly weekly basis about events that are across the ocean, have absolutely nothing to do with Canada? They wildly damage the cohesiveness of this country. They are against Canadian values. I'm sorry. It's not hateful to say the 55 Muslim majority countries do not have Canadian values. It's simply a statement of fact. These are societies that demand total submission to Allah. These are societies that do not put individual rights and freedoms above the power of their leader. It's the exact inverse of that. They put all the power in their leader, who they claim is determined by God, and that simply is not a Western value. It's not a Western value. And for us to have a prime minister who says things like Muslim values are Canadian values, it is so obviously a ploy for votes. It's a ploy for votes from Mark Carney. He sees that we currently have 2 million Muslims in this country and rising every single day because we allow in tens of thousands of people. There are hundreds of members of the IRCG who are now active in Canada. How does it possibly make Canada a better place to have hundreds of active IRGC members in this country? You can't argue that with a straight face. They refused to remove them because look at who's in charge of removing them. It's Gary Andersang, who used to be a Tamil something from India. You know what I mean? This guy doesn't care about Canada. They bring them over because largely because they will overwhelmingly vote for them. Over 85% of new arrivals vote for the Liberal Party of Canada. So it's diluting our voting power. So they bring them over for votes. And frankly, I think they bring them over because they want to destabilize the society. That's ultimately their goal, is that they want to destabilize the society. I think that these WF Davos ghouls have extremely nefarious motivations, and they get a kick out of the fact that, yeah, the statistics are absolutely incredible. They get a kick out of the fact that the UK is falling. I don't know what you guys think. I think that it's increasingly likely that in the UK, the only possible result, I pray that Rupert Lowe gets elected, because if Rupert Lowe does not get elected, I really think there's going to be a civil war in the UK. The UK is already further down the path than we are in Canada. There are already, I mean, if you want to use the term colonization, then there are already large towns in the UK that have been colonized. I've seen interview after interview with longtime Brits who talk about how there's now Muslim calls to prayer 5 times a day in their small town. There's now Sharia courts all over their small town. These are not things that the people voted for. The only reason for a government to exist is for it to represent the people in that country. And the sick thing is, it's been the same thing for the past 50 years. People in the West have not wanted these huge immigration numbers. That's how you know that our government doesn't work for us. They work for, in my estimation, the WF Davos. I was watching a clip of Klaus Schwab the other day. I've seen Dearborn, Michigan. It's absolutely insane. I was watching a clip of Klaus Schwab the other day, and Schwab was talking about how they penetrate the cabinet. He was saying the number of WEF members that they have in the Liberal Party of Canada is shocking. He talked about Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, and we're not. Why in Canada would we have WF Davos stooges in our government? Did Canadians want that? No, Canadians want a government that represents them, that looks out for their best interest. It's so obvious. It should go without saying. Yet in the UK, in Canada, we have Carney, we have Starmer, we have Macron in France. These politicians who are not executing the will of the people. The only reason to have a government is to execute the will of the people. And we have the exact opposite of that. As I already stated, the statistics on support for mass immigration have never been lower. Have never been lower. Hey, Russell, how's it going? Good to see you. The levels of support for immigration have never been lower in Canada. Yet we continue to expand the temporary foreign workers program to allow more people to come into the country. So what's the point of having a government if they don't represent the will of the people? And the most sinister thing, in my opinion, is the fact that they import these millions of people who then overwhelmingly vote Liberal. So they're also transforming the voting base. Like Mark Carney would not have been elected over Pierre Poilievre had they not imported over 6 million people in the past decade, because those 6 million people overwhelmingly vote Liberal. So it's not that. That's another major point, is that this mass immigration makes it no longer the will of people. When the demographics in 2026 look absolutely nothing like the demographics in even 2006, even in the past 20 years, it's been such an extreme change in the demographics of these countries. Are the elections really legitimate when in a country now in Canada, 26.4% of our total population is first generation immigrant? I'm going to reiterate that. 26.4%. Over 1 in 4 citizens in Canada right now are first generation. So by what means is it a democracy? Is it a awesome. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much. How is it a democracy when you import millions of people against the people's will? And those people, because they want to bring their family over, they vote for the Liberal Party of Canada overwhelmingly, over 85% of the time. These new arrivals vote for the Liberal Party of Canada. It's so nefarious and it's so in their faces. Yet I see nearly nobody discussing that aspect of immigration, to say nothing of the cultural impact, to say nothing of the economic impact, both of which we know are absolutely terrible for our country. Terrible for our country. They're importing millions of voters and ensuring that they maintain power. That's another major aspect of why we need to fight against it right now. We need a total moratorium on immigration, and we need removal of people who are here illegally, because otherwise the Liberal Party of Canada will never go out of power, because they're importing people who vote for them overwhelmingly. I was actually at the coffee shop this morning, and I was hearing people, these foreign students, talk about how they're not going to leave when their visas expire. So you know what I mean? It's total insanity. Democracy in the West has become a complete sham, largely due to the mass immigration. When you replace a population, when you so extremely and rapidly change the demographics, it inherently invalidates your democracy, because the people who you had been representing are so radically transformed, and you're bringing in people from a wildly different place, where so many people from communist countries, from authoritarian countries are being brought in, that as Canada slips further and further into authoritarianism, into a tyranny with things like Bill C-9, as we fall further and further into tyranny, it doesn't feel like it to the people who are coming from already authoritarian regimes. That they will support Canada's fall into authoritarianism 100%. I want to remind you guys, please, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This is awesome. I am live every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday night at 7 p.m. Please make sure you like it. Really helps me with the algorithm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in super chats. Every super chat will go towards funding the lawsuit I will be filing once Bill C-9 has passed. Every single super chat, and God bless. Thank you so much for everybody who sent super chats. Will go towards funding the lawsuit. I'm going to be funding a lawsuit in Canada's Superior Court, claiming that Bill C-9, the so-called anti-hate bill, which is the most extreme attack on Canadians' freedom of speech, is in blatant violation of Section 2B of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So I'll be keeping you guys updated every day, but we can't just sit on our laurels. I know there's so much bad going on right now. It's so difficult, but we need to take the steps of action that we can. So I'm gonna be keeping you guys up. Thanks so much, Teresa, for the kind words. I so appreciate it. I'm gonna be keeping you guys updated on a near daily basis on that lawsuit, because I've already worked through exactly the correct court. The Superior Court is the way to go about it. It's in violation of the argument I'm going to make is that it's in violation of Section 52(1) of the Constitution Act of 1982. And I'll keep you guys updated, but I'm very hopeful that we're going to be able to halt it. There was one nice win that we actually got last week, where it was announced that in order to pursue somebody for a violation of Bill C-9, you would need to get approval from the Attorney General, which is at least one more guardrail in there. But this whole bill needs to be shut down. Thank you. God bless. Thank you so much. But this entire bill needs to be shut down, because we are going to see a more extreme version in Canada of what we're seeing in the UK. And what we're seeing in the UK right now. Thank you so much, Jelly Bean, for the super chat. God bless you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Every dollar will go towards funding this lawsuit, and I will be keeping you guys updated after I've filed it, because we can do petitions. I attached to a couple of my videos petitions to write your MP regarding Bill C-9. But I think the more relevant plan of attack at this point is to go ahead with a lawsuit rather than a petition, because it's increasingly unlikely that it's not going to be passed. I think in all likelihood that it is going to be passed, but I am going to file a lawsuit. I'm figuring out the most effective way to go about filing that lawsuit. I'll give you guys an update Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, exactly what the most efficient way to go about is. Thank you so much to everybody who signed the petition, who submitted one to their MP. We did make a difference because at least the Attorney General is going to need to be consulted prior to a charge. But we need to, in my opinion, this whole bill needs to be shut down. And the best way to go about doing it is by filing a lawsuit, because in my estimation, we are going to see a more, oh, that's good to know. Jane Sharf, sorry, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you so much for the super chat, Rob. So appreciate it. God bless. Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you so much. Yes, I am going to keep fighting. And like I said, I will keep you guys updated. I'll give you guys the next update on Wednesday, or I'll post a YouTube video prior to that. But I'm just figuring out the most efficient way to file it. Like I said, I believe the Superior Court is the correct court to file it in, and it's to argue that it's in violation of Section 52(1) of the Constitution Act of 1982. But I'm going to be doing more research this week as to figure out exactly the most efficient way to attack it, because it is a scary bill. And in my estimation, in the UK right now, they are arresting approximately 32 people a day, 33 people a day are going. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you so much. Approximately 33 people a day are being arrested for so-called hate speech, which is just, as I've said, it's speech that they hate. When they say hate speech, I can guarantee you they're not going to be going after any liberal, any communist extremists. It's going to be used against conservative commentators. It's going to be used against conservative commentators, people who speak out against the government. So we need to keep documenting what's going on. We need to keep fighting, because this is an extreme attack on our most fundamental right to freely express ourselves. The government does not give us the right to express ourselves. That's a God-given right. That's not from the government. The government has absolutely no right to tell a human being what they are and are not allowed to say. Of course, outside of some extreme limits, like walking up to somebody. Of course, you can't walk up to somebody on the street and say, I have a knife in my pocket. If you don't give me all your money, I'm going to stab you. Of course, you can't say that. There are some extreme cases, but Bill C-9 goes so far beyond that. The idea that you are going to be arrested, that you are going to be thrown in jail for criticizing immigration policies, for a statement as basic as, I've run it through AI, for a statement as basic as marriage is between a man and a woman, they may very well approach you and attempt to arrest you. That is sick. There's no other way to define that than that is a sickness. And in a free society, in a healthy society, the way that you win a debate with somebody else is in the open marketplace of free ideas. Thank you so much for the super chat, Springtime Flowers. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you so much. So appreciate it. In any healthy and free society, the way that the way that the society functions is that if you disagree with what somebody says, you debate them on the merits. That's what a functioning democracy is. A functioning democracy is that if I disagree with what you're saying, I make my argument, and the population listens to both of us. And whoever more people agree with, whoever lays out a better case, is the one that wins out. You know what I mean? Like, people have to be allowed to speak their conscience, to say what they truly feel, or you're no longer in a free country. It's clear as day. It's so obvious, but they're trying to take that away from us in Canada. And we're seeing it across the West. We are seeing it across the West. An assault on free speech, unlike anything that we've ever seen before, in my estimation. Free speech is in danger across the West, and it is a sign of a crumbling society when, rather than saying I disagree with you, let's debate point for point and see who makes a better argument, they say I have to shut you up. And it's particularly, I have not a doubt in my mind, it is particularly regarding immigration, because they know how wildly unpopular Bill C-9 is. Bill C-9 is what, or sorry, the immigration policy is wildly unpopular that the Liberal Party of Canada is pursuing. There's no doubt about it. Canada used to be the most pro-immigration country in the world. Now, over 75% of Canadians say that we have too much immigration. That is a shocking number in this country. A shocking number in this country. Canada has always been so welcoming of immigrants, but they have gone way too far. 2.2 million Canadians are using food banks every month right now. 2.2 million Canadians cannot feed themselves in this economy. 14.1% youth unemployment rate. 14 point, that statistic on its own, 14.1 youth unemployment rate, should mean a total moratorium on immigration. We do not need any more immigration for people to work Tim Hortons jobs, for people to work Wendy's jobs, for people to work Costco jobs. Young people in this country cannot find jobs, and those jobs are traditionally for our young people and for our older people, and they cannot find work right now. It's nothing less than traitorous, in my estimation. Thank you so much for the kind words. It's nothing less than traitorous, in my estimation, for them to be continuing to allow hundreds of thousands of people to pour in the country at the same time as we have a youth unemployment rate of 14%. The total unemployment rate in Canada is now 6.7%. It's creeping up. We should not be bringing any more people in when the total unemployment rate is 6.7%. It jumped up like 2.4% in the last quarter. It's incredible. The total unemployment rate is rising incredibly quickly, incredibly quickly. Oh, I'll check that out. The Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. That's good to know. Thank you very much. God bless everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Just a reminder, everybody's here. Please make sure you like it. I so appreciate it. It really helps me out with the algorithm. And I am live every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 7 p.m. for us to strategize. Next Wednesday at 7 p.m., I'll be giving you guys, among other things, an update on the lawsuit that I plan on filing against Bill C-9 in the Superior Court. Yeah, the Kalergi plan is exactly what it is. But in a country where you have a 6.7% unemployment rate, 14.1% unemployment rate among the youth, 2.2 million Canadians using food banks, 84,000 jobs lost this last quarter. There's no argument for immigration. Canadians cannot find jobs. Why are you bringing people in who are replacing our workers? When you walk into a Costco, to a Tim Hortons, to a Wendy's, the amount of immigrants working there are truly shocking. And if we had a 2% youth unemployment rate, you'd say, okay, but it's 14%. And you read so many youth leaving comments who are saying they can't find a job anywhere. It's shocking. It's shocking the number of people in this country who can't find jobs. So there's no excuse for bringing all of these people in. There's absolutely no excuse for it, no argument whatsoever. And that's why they have to shut the debate down with something like Bill C-9, because they know it's wildly unpopular. If they thought that they could win the debate, yeah, you're exactly right, Jelly Bean. You're exactly right. The unemployment rate, which is 6.7%, does not even show those who have stopped looking. Thanks so much, Sleepy Bear. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. I so appreciate it. God bless. Thank you so much for the support. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're exactly right. I'd love to contact Elon Musk. He's exactly right. Job hunting is incredibly difficult. But you made a fantastic point. The unemployment rate is 6.7%. The youth unemployment rate is 14%. But that doesn't even include the people who have stopped looking for work, which is a sizable portion of people. So what they've realized is that their immigration policies are wildly unpopular. They're wildly unpopular. So rather than having a free and open debate on it, they have decided, as all communists do, we can't win this debate. We've seen the polling. We've seen how unpopular what we're doing is. So rather than having a free and open debate, we are going to shut down dissent. And I can guarantee you that Bill C-9 in particular is going to criticize critics of immigration because it's their most vulnerable point. I ran a poll on YouTube. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody who's donated. Thank you so much. So appreciate it. I recently ran a poll on YouTube asking people what their number one issue is. And overwhelmingly, I think that my viewership is a relatively good approximation of where the Canadian public is. And we have so many serious issues, but over 80% of people said that immigration was their top issue. Immigration was their number one issue because Canadians are fed up. Canadians are at a breaking point. We've made it extremely clear in polling that Canadians do not want more immigration, yet they continue to expand these programs. The temporary foreign worker program, the immigration mobility program is actually even more nefarious than the temporary foreign worker program. There are already 750,000 people in the country illegally. There are 2 to 3 million people whose visas are going to expire in the next 2 years, and they're not going to remove them. They're absolutely not going to remove them. And how can you argue what I don't understand is how can they argue that they're going to lock Canadians up for speech when they are not removing people who are in the country illegally? Shouldn't be that be what your focus is on? The people who are literally in this country illegally? You know what I mean? Yeah, I do have, thank you so much for the idea, the GoFundMe. Yeah, I already have a Stripe account up. Thank you so much. I already have a Stripe account up. If you go to youtube.com/@FightForCanada2026 or my pinned comment on any of my videos, you can donate there. Thank you so much. And all donations will go towards funding this lawsuit, which I'm going to be further detailing on Wednesday night. I know the smartest way to go about it is through the Superior Court of Canada. A challenge based on Section 52(1) of the Constitution Act of 1982 that Bill C-9 blatantly violates Section 2B of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which I don't think there's any argument in my estimation. It absolutely does. We'll see, because I know we have a lot of woke judges. We have a heck of a lot of woke far left judges, but we have to do what we can, right? There's no point of having a loser's mindset and saying this is such an uphill battle. Our ancestors faced much more difficult tests than this. So I mean, all you have to have is the spirit. Go at it every day, and go at it with all the spirit that you possibly can. Yeah, Rebel News has been incredible at Davos. Rebel News has been fantastic. Rebel News has been absolutely fantastic. One other suggestion I would have with Bill C-9, in all likelihood going to pass this week. One strong suggestion is understand the law. So if you ever are approached about speech that you've made online, know your rights. I think it's a very smart time in Canada for Canadians to brush up on the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and understand your rights as a Canadian. I think that that's a very important thing to do right now. Ultimately, the government works for us. We don't work for the government. We pay for the government. The Canadian citizens are in charge of the governments. We're the shareholders. You're not reminded of that very often. But we own this government. We pay for this government. They work for us. So I strongly suggest brushing up on the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, ensuring that you're well-versed in your rights as a citizen, And absolutely, I agree, Canada first. Our government should always be Canada first and foremost. We have the exact opposite of that right now. Yeah, please remember to like, share, subscribe. Really appreciate it. I'm live every Wednesday, Friday, Sunday night at 7 p.m. Wednesday, Friday, Sunday night at 7 p.m. Thank you so much for everybody who supports. I so appreciate it. I love you guys in the chat. It's fantastic. It gives me so many great ideas. But brush up on your rights. I think that every Canadian citizen now is as important a time as we've seen in the past couple of decades, certainly, to ensure that we are brushed up on our rights as Canadians, because the government of Canada works for us. We pay their salaries. And thank you so much. Make sure you're well versed in your rights, because they actually do explicitly admit that in Bill C-9, it does challenge certain charter rights. So they're not trying to hide it. They are out in the open about it. But it's incredibly nefarious, and they are going after speech, which is, as I said, it's not the government's right. It's not the government. Thank you so much. It's not the government that gives us the right to speak our conscience. It's God. God gives us the right to speak our conscience. The government should have absolutely nothing to say about our speech. Should have absolutely nothing to say about our speech, except for in those extreme cases, except for in those extreme cases as I laid out. Of course, you cannot walk up to somebody on the street and say, I have a knife in my pocket. Hey, Marion, how's it going? You cannot walk up to somebody in the street and say, I have a knife in my pocket. Give me all of your money. You know what I mean? Thanks, Russell. Thank you so much. But outside of those extreme examples, the government should not exist to go after our fundamental rights and freedoms, our right to speak our conscience, our right to say what we truly believe. Yeah, they are vote buying. That's a very good way to put it. We spent over $1 billion. We spent over $1 billion a year on new arrivals into this country. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Or you can just get or I shouldn't say that. Yeah, what's going on in this country is truly shocking in terms of speech. I want to give you guys a reminder. I'm going to be live every Wednesday, Friday, Sunday night at 7. On Wednesday, I will be giving an update in terms of Bill C-9 may be passed by Wednesday. There, thank you so much. Bill C-9 may be passed by Wednesday. It's so ironic. They're only going to debate their free speech bill on 2 days, the absolute minimum number of days they can. It is in all likelihood going to pass. The block is going to help them pass it, so it is going to pass. And then it's about challenging this ruling everywhere we can, because we are going to see more extreme infringement on Canadians' God-given right to free speech than what we have in the UK, where they're arresting 33 people a day. I just actually watched an absolutely horrendous YouTube video of a man at the airport about to go on vacation. He only got two weeks vacation or something a year, and getting arrested for something that he posted online. It's absolutely insane. But we'll see Wednesday whether it's passed or not. But it's looking increasingly likely that it is going to pass this week. And Bill C-9 is actually more nefarious than what they passed in the UK. Bill C-9 is more nefarious than what they passed in the UK. It's more aggressive in terms of the way that they say they are going to approach the criminal law, a speech regarding to criminal law. How's it going, bro? Great to see everybody. I think that's a great point in terms of the immigration. If you stop the welfare, healthcare, and loopholes, people will stop coming. That's what we also need to do. We also need to stop incentivizing people to come. And we have these ridiculous. Thank you so much for the super, Daryl. So appreciate it. God bless. Thanks so much, Daryl. So appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super. They incentivize people to come, because in a lot of cases people actually get better offerings in terms of healthcare, in terms of social services, than long-term Canadians do. I personally know a guy who fought in Canada's military, now has a disability, and he's only receiving something like $800 a month, whereas new arrivals are eligible for up to $240 a day. It's so perverse when you actually look into it. Thank you so much for becoming a frontline supporter of Lost Art. Much appreciated. So appreciated, bro. Thank you so much. But we have to drop the incentives. I mean, incentives drive behavior. You're absolutely right. So we need to fix the system. And it's also just traitorous behavior. And you know why? It's because in the Liberal Party of Canada right now, there are so many new arrivals to this country that are now in our government. It's crazy. Like the immigration minister, I was watching one minister speak the other day about how we have to have this generous program for new arrivals, and they were a new arrival. So it's not even a government of the people. It's not even a government of the people. It's my opinion that you should at least have to have been born in Canada to be an elected member of parliament. Like that seems to me to be definitionally an absolute must. But we have so many people who are new arrivals in this country. As I stated, 26.4% of the total population is now a first-generation immigrant. So they incentivize people. They want to incentivize people to come to this country. And a lot of these wokies, Katie Hopkins is awesome. And a lot of these far lefties also think that Canada is a colonial, white supremacist, racist state. So they're going after us. We have a lot of members in our government who are actively working against the best interest of Canadians. That's also what's so nefarious, what's so corrosive about this woke worldview is that it promotes a hatred of the West. So many people have come into Canada who absolutely hate our country, hate our country's values. I mean, a civilization will collapse when you promote self-hatred. I mean, it's like anything, it's any human being. Any human being who hates themselves is not going to be successful. It's the exact same thing with a country. It's obviously a more complex body, but any country that hates itself is not going to be successful. Goes without saying. It's common sense. I mean, come on. Any country that hates itself is not going to be successful. And they have preached. The Liberal Party of Canada has preached so much self-hatred, this woke ideology that we're colonial, that we're white supremacists. It's so ahistoric. The settlers came here. What do you think it was a fairy tale when they arrived here and the indigenous were here? No, there was brutal killing on this land, brutal killing on this land. There's no comparison. There's absolutely no comparison between the immigrants arriving now and the settlers that arrived here and built this civilization in 1867. They built an incredible civilization. The vast majority of people arriving here are not givers to the system. They're takers from the system. There's absolutely no comparison. Yeah, they teach critical race theory in school. I know grade 5 teachers, and the stuff regarding gender that they're teaching our young people is shocking. It's incredibly shocking. The first of all, you should not be talking about anything related to gender to such young people, yet they're doing it on a consistent basis. In my opinion, it's sick. It's absolutely sick. It's child abuse, and they go after the most vulnerable people time and time again. When you look at it, my God, it's like trying. How can you live with yourself when you're brainwashing 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds who know nothing better? But that's always what the communists do. You're absolutely right. It's indoctrination, and they go after the most vulnerable people. They always go after the most vulnerable people. When you look at it, the propaganda that the Communist Party used, it was always going after the most vulnerable among us. It's sick. It's disgusting. It's stuff like drag queen story time to young students. It's shocking. It's really shocking what's going on. I think that if the vast majority of Canadians were actually aware of how ugly and how bad it has gotten, it would not be pretty in this country. But I think that a lot of people, I mean, look, we have a weed store on every corner now, a mushroom store on every corner. I think that in a lot of cases, a lot of people are just to a degree ignorant of what's going on in our schools. But I've seen some of the programming that they are teaching to incredibly young children, and it's like, my God, I don't know how people with a straight face can do this, because it's incredibly disturbing. It's incredibly disturbing. In the UK, they came out with a massive study. It was called the CAS study, and the reason they actually stopped giving hormones to children as young as 14 years old, they upped the age to 18, because they knew they said the science just isn't here. In Canada, though, we're still giving it out to children as young as 14. Look at our prime minister, who sent his own child to the now discredited what's it called, Tavistock industry in the UK. It's truly shocking. Do whatever you want to other adults, but the idea that you're going after young children, in my opinion, is beyond low. But it's what what the far left always does. They go after the youngest among us. I don't understand. I think there's a movement now among young people that people think that woke. Oh yeah, marijuana definitely ain't fentanyl. That's definitely true. That the woke people. I think we're seeing more of a blowback against the man can become a woman, woman can become a man, because it's just on its face. It's so obvious that it is a mania. It's a mania right now, but it is receding. I've seen the statistics, and it is becoming less and less popular as time goes on, thank God. But we see these manias time and time again in history where people buy into this diluted things for short periods of time, particularly among young women. But then over time, it does wind up becoming less and less popular, thank God. But yeah, we're seeing some major delusions right now. All right, guys, I think I am going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you so much, everybody who's been here. I so appreciate it. The next live is going to be Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, I'll be live. And if Bill C-9 has passed, I'll give you guys an update on the lawsuit, how I plan on pursuing it. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you so much, everybody who's been here. Like I said, I think the best course of action next is to pursue this lawsuit because Bill C-9, in my opinion, is the scariest thing that we've seen in this country in the past couple of decades. So I'm going to attack it with a lawsuit. I'll have an update on Wednesday, along with an update on Bill C-9, really hoping it doesn't pass, but it's looking increasingly likely it will. God bless you guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This has been fantastic. The chat is always amazing here. Thank you so much. I will see you guys on Wednesday night. Thank you so much to everybody who's donated. I so appreciate it. Every dollar is going to go towards the lawsuit, which I will be updating you guys on, going to the Superior Court of Canada, because we need to fight this. Bill C-9 is the most extreme attack on our fundamental rights and freedoms that we've ever seen. So God bless, guys. Have a great night. I'll see everybody Wednesday at 7. God bless, guys.